I'm here at the Republican convention in Cleveland, where I'm joined by retired General Michael Flynn, who ran the Defense Intelligence Agency here in the United States, a top advisor to Donald Trump. He spoke here at the convention on Monday night and was even considered as a potential running mate for Trump. General Flynn, thanks for joining me on UpFront.
It's great to be back with you.
You served as a military commander and as an intelligence agency chief. Why do you support as candidate for president Donald Trump, a man who has zero experience in the military or in intelligence, zero experience of political or national leadership, zero knowledge of foreign policy or international affairs?
Yeah, so on the international scope, I think that people really they underestimate Donald Trump's sort of global view, and that has been sort of beaten by the media because they look at him as just this this businessman. This businessman is a very successful businessman globally. So how he operates around the world is totally different than how someone who's a politician might operate around the world, or someone who's in the military.
Well, he sells his brand name around the world. It's not quite.
Well, but also
not quite preparation for the White House.
Well, but when you look at other presidents who we've had, what kind of preparation did they have? I mean, the one that's sitting in the White House right now, he was a community organizer. I mean, in a very small community.
And a senator.
Yeah, but for a very short period of time.
Enough.
I mean,
fair enough.
So what was he? Community organizer, and then just pure politics, and did not have a view of what's going on around the world, and also in the United States of America.
And a law professor. You said last year in an interview, we need people that understand the cultures and societies from hands-on, with a fingertips feel, you said, for the operating environment. That is not Donald Trump, a man who says he can't tell the difference between Hamas and Hezbollah. He admits it himself.
Yeah, I think that, and that's why, he has reached out to, I think, a lot of good people, great people, and there's been a lot of people that have jumped on board to help him out, to make sure that when we look at what America's role in the world must be, it gives us a sense of who we are as America, so we can deal with the world as it is today. Because the world, Mehdi, has fundamentally shifted. It has changed. We're in the second decade of the 21st century. We're operating on old 20th century sort of rules and tools and alliances and formations, and it's not working. It is definitely not working.
And on Monday night in your speech, the first political speech of your life, I believe.
Yeah, first time I ever did a teleprompter.
But it was a very political speech from a man who's not known for his politics. You led the crowd in chanting, lock her up in relation to Hillary Clinton.
Sure.
Many people, and other speakers at this convention have done the same. Many would say, what has happened to US politics? This is what happens in dictatorships or banana republics, where you don't just beat your opponents, you put them in prison. Why do you want to delegitimize your opponent in this way?
Yeah, well, first of all, our director of the FBI laid out very factually all of the laws, policies, and rules that Hillary Clinton broke, and then for whatever reason, he gave his opinion on that same testimony.
He recommended no prosecution,
exactly,
no charges.
Exactly.
So why not respect the head of the FBI, who, by the way, was a registered Republican for his whole life and voted McCain and Romney?
But that's not his decision. His decision was his responsibility was to lay out the facts and then prefer his judgment to the Attorney General of the United States of America.
So you believe she should be on trial?
I do. I believe that Hillary Clinton should be indicted. She should be indicted.
But that's not what you said on Monday night. You were leading the charge and saying, lock her up. She's not guilty of any crime. Why would you lock up an innocent person?
Because I think that in this case, what we need to do is we need to get the American public to understand that the lack of trust between our federal government and those people who have been leading it for a while, she's right there, is broken. It's
completely
broken down.
Get that, and many would agree with you.
Yeah.
But she's an innocent person. She's not been found guilty of any crime.
Yeah,
isn't it a bit mob justice, vigilante to lead a crowd saying, lock her up?
It remains to be seen, Mehdi.
What remains to be seen? She's innocent until proven guilty,
Her
General.
innocence.
That is U.S. law.
I mean, we're going to be.
So why lead a crowd
we're a
saying,
nation
lock
of
her up?
laws. I'm going to tell you, because and it wasn't so much, for me it was a response to the way America feels today about her specifically, and frankly the breakdown of trust in general.
General, you've written a new book, The Field of Fight, How We Can Win the Global War Against Radical Islam and its Allies. Donald Trump says he's going to win this war against radicalism. He often tweets that I'm the only man with a plan. What's he going to look like? as a president in terms of his foreign and security policy? Because there's this debate about Donald Trump. Some say he's a non-interventionist. He's going to kind of pull back from some of the crazy wars of choice, the Iraqs, the Libyas of George W. Bush,
that's a misunderstanding
of Barack
of Donald
Obama.
Trump.
So do you think he's going to be more hawkish or less hawkish than, say, Hillary Clinton? Because he said stuff like he wants to put boots on the ground, 20,000 soldiers in Iraq and Syria. He said he wants to bomb the hell out of ISIL.
Donald Trump will use good common sense and practical solutions. Now, Donald Trump has a copy of that book, and I strongly recommend, because my commentary in the book about where and what we're doing with the greater Muslim world is something that we have to really relook.
Yeah.
And what I call for is a new 21st century alliance.
Yeah.
And I talk about some of the leaders in the Middle East, primarily the Middle East and in Africa, but certainly in the Arab world, and the roles that they have been playing and the roles that they need to play. And this alliance it's a 21st century alliance.
But on the military front specifically,
well,
Donald Trump at the beginning was saying, I wouldn't have done Libya, I wouldn't have done Iraq, even though he supported both wars. Now he's saying, I'll send 30,000. He did. Now he's saying he would send 30,000 troops on the ground, boots on the ground in Syria and Iraq. Is that something you would support?
Yeah, the numbers are I'm not going to be predictable with anything, and I don't think he's predictable.
Well, he said I would listen to the general. I'm hearing numbers of 20,000, 30,000.
Right. So what we have to do, though, is we have to bring together what I kind of describe as an Arab alliance.
Yeah.
And that Arab alliance is to go after this disease that exists inside of the Islamic ideology, Mehdi. I mean, you can't stand here today and tell me that there is not a problem. And I've had lots of conversations with lots of friends over in that region of the world who have said, there is a huge misunderstanding.
Well, on the ideological front, you talk in your book about the need to confront an ideology.
Yep.
You talk about the need for an alliance, allying with Arab leaders, Muslim leaders to fight this scourge.
Embracing those that are actually out there with showing intellectual courage.
And yet, last week, in the wake of the French the attack in Nice, the horrific attack in Nice, you tweeted that, quote, Arab and Persian leaders should, quote, declare their Islamic ideology sick. You just said Islamic ideology.
Ideology, that's right.
Islamic ideology. You want Muslim leaders to come out and condemn their own religion. How are they going to be your allies if you ask them to do that?
The ideology.
Islamic ideology. You want them to condemn their own religion. You said Islamic ideology.
I said Islamic ideology. You said religion.
So if I asked the people in this hall to condemn Christian ideology, you think they'd be okay with that? They'd probably kick us both out.
Yeah, if there were, absolutely. I mean,
Christian ideology.
Well, let me tell you, and I write about this in the book. So in the book, I take on the Catholic Church because of trying to use canon law, Mehdi, to protect priests who were pedophiles, okay? And our judicial system said, absolutely not. This is a secular society. We're based on the rule of law.
So you're saying it's not a political ideology. You have a problem with the whole religion of Islam.
I have a problem with the political ideology.
So why not say that? Why say Islamic ideology? When I interviewed you before, you said be precise. Trump needs to be precise. Don't you need to be precise?
The Islamic, and so I say...
But you're not going to get any allies in the Middle East when they read that tweet from you.
Believe me. Well, then where President al-Sisi has already stood up and really challenged Islam. He challenged it in a big way, and I put damn near his whole speech, Mehdi, into the book because I want people to say,
he's also massacred unarmed protesters, which many say is a boost to radical groups.
If Egypt collapses under President al-Sisi, we're going to see a breakout of greater problems in this radical Islamist crowd.
Okay, so today you're telling me radical Islam. I'm just trying to clarify terms. You don't have a problem with Islam as a whole? Because you're saying in your tweets, Islamic ideology is sick. That offends 1.2 billion Muslims. Who are not going to be your allies.
As President al-Sisi said, should we expect 1.2 billion Muslims to kill the other 7 billion people on the planet? Of course not.
And they're not going to.
Well, but I'm just telling you this. So this is coming from a president, an Islamic president in a.
Well, he's not an Islamic president. He happens to be an authoritarian ruler in the Arab world.
So what we have to do is we have to listen to what is happening.
But do you accept that when you say Islamic ideology is sick, you are pushing away your allies in the Middle East?
Where are the kings of this world?
Well, they're probably running away from American leaders who say Islam is sick.
Okay, why don't they stand up and say what it is then?
They stood up against
Tell us what it is.
Well,
tell us what it is, because
you tell me what it is. You're the one who's written a book on it. It's not Islam. What is it?
Islam is a political ideology based on a religion. Okay? It's a political ideology based on a religion.
Fair enough. You called on the Iranian leadership to fix it.
Exactly, which I doubt that guy Rouhani or Khamenei will ever come out and say anything.
You repeatedly called him Khomeini, who died in 1989.
Yeah, okay, that's my Irish intellect, or my Irish...
You're the former head of Defense Intelligence. People are saying you should know who the leader of Iran is.
I know who it is.
You're writing a book
absolutely know it, and I talk about him in the book.
Because people are worried about this kind of lack of preparedness. Let me give you an example. Turkey almost had a coup last week. Big geopolitical story. Massive. If Turkey collapses, goes crazy, we all know what's going to happen in the Muslim majority world. Donald Trump, the day after...
It's very dangerous. This is very serious.
Donald Trump, the day after that very serious coup, let me tell you what he said in his press conference. He said, this is what he said about Turkey, the man who wants to be commander-in-chief. So many friends in Turkey, great people, amazing people. We wish them well. Hopefully it will all work out. Is that all he can say about the biggest geopolitical issue in the world? Does that not worry you as a man writing books about geopolitics?
I think at this stage that was appropriate for the timing when he said it, Mehdi, because it was just too soon to tell what exactly happened. And the big question is why and what's next. Instead of saying who did it, all of the tactics, the guys talking about shooting and helicopters and planes, everybody wants to see that. What we really have to ask is why and what is happening inside of Turkey.
He didn't pick you in the end. You were on his short list of vice presidential candidates. He went for a more conservative candidate, Mike Pence. Some say your more liberal views on abortion and homosexuality may have undermined your position in this Republican Party. If he wins, you're not going to be vice president, but would you serve as his defense secretary? It's been floated that you would be the defense secretary under a Trump presidency.
So first of all, it was an honor for me to even be considered because it showed me that in his case, he wasn't all that worried about too many labels about people. He was looking for, leadership. And that's what this election is going to be about. It's going to be about honest leadership, honesty, because the American public is sick of hearing about all of the nonsense and BS and lies. And that's where, back to Hillary Clinton. I mean, this woman doesn't know what the truth is, because she has no idea what the truth is.
But you're backing a candidate who every fact-checking website has said has lied more than any other candidate in the field. PolitiFact, independent website, said 78% of his statements turned out to be false.
Who owns PolitiFact?
I don't know who owns PolitiFact.
Yeah,
it's an award-winning independent website.
Yeah, well, good.
Okay,
good for them.
The Washington Post fact-checkers fact-checked 46 statements by Donald Trump. 70% were found to be completely false.
Good. So I'm sure that
the guy tells more lies than any candidate.
I'm sure that the Hillary campaign is going to use all that on some, commercial.
It's not just the Hillary campaign. Republican senators called him lies. Ted Cruz called him a pathological liar.
Those politicians.
You're following a guy who lies more than any other candidate, and you're talking about
Mehdi,
honesty.
Come on.
You don't think he lies? Everyone's heard him tell untruths.
In the conversations that I've had with him, and very straightforward.
Fair enough. He doesn't lie to you, but he lies to the rest of us.
No, he doesn't. What you see is what you get out of him. I mean, this is a guy who looks at things and goes,
literally no fact checker agrees with you on that.
What makes good common sense when it comes to making a decision? And for this country, right now, I'm going to tell you, this is the kind of leadership that we need. We need fresh leadership. All these politicians who still haven't gotten off the fence or have made a decision, they're going to lose at the end of the day, because it's like
if they lose,
Mehdi,
and your man wins,
check your ego.
Are you going to be defense secretary under Trump? Would you like to be?
I have loved serving this country, and that's a decision that Donald Trump has to make.
But if he makes it, you'll say yes.
Whatever team he has around him. At this point in time, I don't know.
We appreciate you taking time out. Thanks for coming on UpFront, General.
All right, Mehdi. Thanks a lot.